Welcome everyone, and today we are having a session on interview preparation and technique. We from the MSAF Employment Services are here to give this session today. Myself, Rufaida Anis, and my colleague Sara Ahmed are here today to give this session. So let's start going. So the first main thing we would like to discuss about are the 4 points, 4 important points for you to start thinking about before an interview. The first thing is planning. So preparation before an interview, what are the things that you need to be doing? And the second one is during the interview. What are the things that you need to be asking? How are you supposed to be behaving during an interview? After the interview, what you're supposed to do, and we will discuss about the summary of what we need to be doing for an interview. So let's start with the first point of planning or preparation before the interview. So what we need to do is, first thing I would like to tell all of you is try and stay calm. You need to be confident that you have gotten to this part of going for an interview because of your skill set, and that your job description that the company has been somewhat similar to what you are doing. So be confident about yourself and stay positive and think that you are going to be nailing the interview. Second thing is get ready ahead of time. Try and get your dresses ironed a day before. Try and you have to be going in a business suit mostly, so be a business formal is what we call over here. So get ready ahead of time, choose your dresses a day before, iron them and keep them ready so that you don't have to be very hasty the next day. Practice and repeat. So the first thing that we are going to be asked during an interview is talk about yourself. So I would be discussing about that in the next slide. That is something called as an elevator pitch. So it's better to practice and repeat. If necessary, try and practice before a mirror. So that's going to help you for your interview the next day. And research about the company. Always research about the company, not only because you need to know about what the company is doing, also it's going to help you at the end of the interview. I'll tell you why. So what are the things that you need to research? So for example, you have an interview with a company like JD Irving. So try and see what are the industries that they are working on, what are the different kinds of supply chains or anything that JDI does. So what are, like, whether they are good in IT, they are doing transportation, they have a lot of branches. So do a complete research about the company itself before your interview time. So the next day when you go for an interview, always be on time. And over here, be on time is always 15 minutes early. So for example, you have an interview at 2 p.m., be there at 1:45. So that's going to help you in a lot of ways. And after your interview, no matter how good or bad, however the interview is gone, always send a follow-up after the interview. So it's always good to send an email to your HR manager stating that, thank you for an opportunity, and I hope to get a good answer from you in the near future. So always have a follow-up on email after your interview. So planning. So what do you have to do planning? So have a resume copy. Now make sure that your resume is at least is the latest. So make sure you add in the last 6 months, whatever you have done. Try and update your resume and make sure that you have sent that resume to your HR manager, and always have a copy of it, 2 or 3 copies of it in your hand during your interview. The reason being, when you go to an interview, there is a high chance that there are more than 2 or 3 people, panel members for the interview, and maybe there is a chance of only one person having your copy in hand. So it's always good to have 2 or 3 copies to pass it down during the interview. Perform, as I told you before, research on the company and the role that you are going to be interviewing to. So make sure the JD or the job description matches all the skill sets that you have mentioned in your resume. So perform a research on the mission, the vision, and the values of the company itself. Again, this is going to be really helpful for you at the end of the interview. Read the job description carefully. Practice and rehearse answers to potential interview questions. So, most of you know that over here in Canada, your interview is going to be behavioral, and mostly 90% of the companies send 2 or 3 examples of their behavioral questions, maybe a day or two before the interview itself. So always practice, make a list of examples of what you're going to be talking about, and the behavioral questions are supposed to be answered in a particular way that we will be discussing in the next slides. Make a list of examples for the behavioral questions. Make a list of all the examples that you can think about, and have a question of your own to ask the interviewer. So this question also, we would be discussing about it in the next slides. Elevator pitch. So the famous question that everyone gets asked at the beginning of an interview is, tell me about yourself. So this answer is what we would recommend you guys to practice and rehearse a day before. And why we call it as an elevator pitch is, this answer that you are going to be giving should be brief enough. That is, it's going to be taking around 30 to 60 seconds for you to travel in an elevator, for you to reach from one floor to another. So your answer is supposed to be that brief enough, which should cover about yourself, what you do and what you want to do in 30 to 60 seconds. So what you have to add in this elevator pitch is, share your skills and mention your goals. So as I told you before, talk about yourself, what you are, what you want to do. So these 3 things are ready. And if you have a business card ready, it's good to pass it on to the team members. So this is the elevator pitch. So always try and write down something. I will be giving you an example of how you have to write down an elevator pitch. Write it down and practice and rehearse it. And as we mentioned before, it's good to rehearse it in front of a mirror so that you don't stutter in front of people. So this is an example. So I am mention your occupation. I help in who benefits from your service and by what you do. So what do you do to help them? My specialty has been dash. So what is the part of your job that you're really good at? And in fact, I have successfully dash. Name an accomplishment related to this specialty. So for example, I'll give you an example now. I am a architect and I help this company called as Royal Enfield, which is a biking company back in India. And I help them to create interior and exterior design for their bike showrooms. My specialty has been always creating a 3D rendered drawing to help them visualize the interior space. In fact, I have successfully helped Royal Enfield with creating around 200 to 300 of interior design spaces for their biking company. So this is one of the examples that I have come up with, but it always helps. You can always fill out the dashes that we've given and it can always be plus or minus of what you want to say, but try and rehearse it beforehand. So as I told you before, your elevator pitch should have who you are, what you do, and what you want to do. Another example of it is, I have a decade's worth of experience in accounting, working primarily with small and mid-sized firms. If your company is ever in need of an extra set of hands, I'd be thrilled to consult. So this could be like an elevator pitch, talking to someone when you are going for an interview as a consultant or in a contract basis. So this could be a good example for that. Okay, so from now, this is a STAR technique. This is to be taken by Sara.
Yeah.
She'll be talking about the STAR technique.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. So now we are still on the planning process. We are planning for our interview. I'm going to talk about behavioral question, which is one of the most important part of any job interview, where we need everyone to be prepared and to practice how to answer these behavioral questions. So there is technique to answer this kind of questions. The technique is called the STAR technique. Um, you all aware of that, and some of you they didn't hear about it. So I would like to focus about what STAR technique it is and explain the process. So STAR technique is a way of answering behavioral questions. So what do we mean exactly by behavioral question? Behavioral question, they are questions about how have behaved in the past, mainly how you handled certain work situations. So STAR technique, it's an acronym for four key concepts, which is S stands for situation, T stands for task, A activity, and R result. I will be explaining more what do we mean with an examples and some helpful resources and links to explain what STAR technique. STAR technique, when you are addressing these kinds of questions, and which is very common nowadays, there is no right or wrong answers addressing these types of questions. It's only a type of storytelling. You have to tell a story that happened in the past with you. This story is related to skill or a situation which occurred in your previous work experience. Since you won't know in advance what questions will be asked, our advice for everyone is to prepare several scenarios from job you have held earlier. So you have to prepare, as my colleague Rufaida mentioned, you have to prepare, you have to practice, you have to rehearse in order to be ready for your big day. Our advice and our recommendation how to address these types of questions is, first of all, see the job description. Read the job description carefully, the job that you are applying to. Read it carefully. Then make a list of skills needed for this type of a job and try to consider some specific examples, concrete examples. So we are always telling our clients, like, keep 3 to 4 examples in your mind. Try to practice it ahead of time so that you will be ready for your big day. Again, I would repeat this, how to prepare the examples. First step, see the job description, read the job description carefully, then make a list of skills needed for this job and consider specific examples. Write these examples down and rehearse it ahead of time. So this is a very um, helpful way for everyone to be prepared to answer for behavioral questions. Actually, these questions usually start with, tell me about a time, tell me about a situation. So it will start something like that. It means that they need a story from you. Okay, so next slide. Here are some helpful YouTube links that we have gathered for all of you. You can access them, behavioral question, STAR method, and some picks for you. Write them down. We recommend everyone to write them down, and in your free time, try to browse these links, and it would help you to to practice more and to prepare yourself for your big day. There is, on the next slide, there is example. So this example is, briefly, we tried to just to make it easier for you to understand what do we mean exactly by STAR technique. For example, here, like, the question is, tell me about a time you had to complete a task within a tight deadline. Describe the situation and how you handle it. So this is the type of behavioral question. Tell me about a time. Tell me about a situation. Tell me about a case or something happened. These kind of question called behavioral question. So the answer is, once at a former company, an employee left days before the imminent deadline. So this one is highlighted by purple. This one, it's the situation. The situation is that the employee left days before the deadline. This is S. So we will jump into T, the task. What's your task in that situation, which is highlighted in blue? I was asked to assume responsibility for it. So this is the T. The S is the employee left before the deadline, before the project is over. And the T, my task is to take over, okay? With only few days to learn about to complete the project, I created a task force. So this part is my action. What I did, I created a task force and delegated work. So this is the A. What was the result of that? That we all completed the assignment within a day to spare. So the situation is employee left, and the task that my task or your task was to assume responsibility. The action is you created a task force and delegated work, and the result was the project on time was over. So keep in mind every scenario, every example, every story you are telling, the hiring manager or the panel should follow the same way, the same technique. Your situation, what is your task, what you did, and what are the results. So this is the STAR technique. And if you follow this technique, we are pretty sure that you will pass the behavioral question. It's not difficult, just you prepare yourself ahead of time and rehearse and put some stories, write down the stories which is related to the job you are applying for. This is our recommendation and our advice for STAR technique. So the next slide. Now you prepared, you planned, you are still on the planning process. You are planning for your big day. We recommend to ask questions, in every job interview. At the end of the job interview, the employer or the hiring manager will ask you, do you have any questions so far? Most of the clients or most of people, they miss this part and they said, no, thank you. No, this is not our recommendation and our advice. Please keep 3 to 4 questions in your examples. Just write them down. You have to be ready. You have to ask questions in order to show that you are really interested in this job. These are 4 different types of questions, and I believe if you will use it in every industry, in every job interview, it will work out, because these questions, they are quite general. You can use it on every interview, for every interview. So the first question is something related. It's a connection, or it's, yeah, like you are connecting with the employer. So this question, like, what do you love most about working here? It's a kind of building this connection with the employer. It means it's showing that you are interested in this job. You can ask this question. You can ask something related to culture, like, who's the most successful recent hire and why? You can ask something challenges. What are your expectations for me? So you can tell the employer, so far, if I'm hired, after 1 year, what do you expect from me? How you are gonna measure my performance? So these kinds of questions really will show that you are the right fit for this position. And there is another question like closing. If you feel that you exceeded the time for interview, like it has been 45 minutes or 1 hour, so you don't have to raise these 4 questions. 1 or 2 is enough, and I prefer to ask, what are the next steps in the process? So this question, it shows also your interest in the position, and just you are waiting to hear back from the employer. 2 of these questions would work fine. I would recommend, it's not a must to raise these 4. 2 of them is fine, but please ask questions. Don't say, I don't have anything, okay? This is our advice. Now, your big day is here, and you know you should be ready. As my colleague Rufaida said, planning is really an important step in every job interview and in everything in our life actually. So during your big day, again, just I want to highlight these points. Appearance, as we said, as we have mentioned earlier, try to be formal, you know, relative to profession, and go easy on perfume, accessories, and makeup, because you know perfume and a lot of makeups and perfume would distract the employer. So just take it easy, go easy, don't put much perfume and accessories. For sure, your mobile phones should be off, and you should be on time 15 minutes earlier. Rufaida said that 15 minutes, it's the right time actually before the interview. If you have interview 2 or 2 o'clock, so 1:45 would be fine, not less than that. 15 minutes, just go, relax, and wait in the reception area until your turn. The other point is, which is very important, greet the interviewer or panel members. And try to remember their names, because it shows again your interest and your passion about this job. So greet and shake hands firmly, smile, and sit down naturally. You know, body language is a key and it's very important part in any job interview. So we would recommend that to practice it before one day, you know, to practice your body language is it's very important. And don't take the lead, just you sit down and wait, let the interviewer take the lead. Don't take the lead, please. Don't talk until the interviewer, the hiring manager, or the panel, they will greet you, then you can reply back. The other point is that the eye contact, and we are keep focusing on eye contact. Don't stare. You know, we don't want you to stare and just look at the eyes. No, try to uh, you know, to have eye contact, and you can just look at the eyes, at the face, you know, on the face. So not staring actually, but only having eye contact. And your voice tone, not to not to show that you are too much excited, and so it will show that you are nervous, or you know, you are not feeling comfortable. So try to be calm and take it easy. Okay, these are our points during your interview. So for the next, for the next slide. Okay, so the top interview skills, just like a summary, sum up for the top interview skills: prepare, be punctual, and think before speaking. That's why the planning is important. So if you are prepared ahead of time, if you planned all your behavioral questions, if you did your own research about the company, the mission, the vision, the values, you have read the job description carefully, so it will give you a time and a chance, you know, to think before speaking. So you will have all the information absorbed before, ahead of time. That's why a preparation is a key, and the thinking is a key as well, because already you have something in mind, you have prepared all the concrete examples and everything related to the job. Speak clearly and calmly. As we said, the voice tone, your voice tone should be, you know, calm, and should be clear, not too much excited, not less. Be confident, not arrogant. This is also, you know, one of the important thing. You know, there is a difference between being confident and being arrogant. So just show your confidence about your accomplishment, what you did, speak it, and try to pass it to the interviewer in a confident way, not to show that you are arrogant. Listen well before you answer any questions. Please listen, think, and then speak and express gratitude for the employer. So these are the top interview skills so far we would like to focus on. Yeah. Now we are gonna jump to the job interview mistakes. For sure, we don't recommend to dress casual. As we said, you have to dress formally. And arriving late, as we mentioned, 15 minutes earlier is the right time before any job interview. Try to leave your home, try to measure to see the distance from your home to the company or the place where you have an interview, and leave earlier ahead of time, but don't enter the office only 15 minutes before the interview. Don't bring for sure any drink with you, coffee or juice or whatever, and your phone, just switch it off and keep it aside. Don't use your mobile phone. Not knowing anything about the company, that's why we said you have to do your own research before you head to any job interview. Do your own research. Don't go blindly without knowing anything, because it's for sure it will be clearly and obvious in the interview, and the employer would catch that you are not prepared, you are not excited, you are not interested in the job. Not prepared to answer questions. We have talked earlier about this point. Preparation is a key. Talking too much. Yeah, try to talk briefly, like using star technique. Keep it in your mind. Situation, task, and what is my role and what is the result. That's it. So it's a storytelling, but it's a short story. For example, same as Rufaida said, the elevator pitch, 30 to 60 seconds. Prepare it ahead of time, rehearse it, try to know it by heart, and then try to stick it to 30 to 60 seconds, in order not to show that, okay, in order not the employer will get annoyed during the interview. Try to keep it briefly, as much as you can, briefly and clearly. Bad mouthing past employers. Don't talk anything bad about your past employer, even if you had problems earlier, even if you were not interested in the job. Try not to bad mouth past employers as much as you can. And the last point is not following up. So we said following up is very important to show your interest in this job. Following up again after the job interview. Now we will be talking about this on the next slide. After the job interview, follow up. Please follow up. Many clients, they don't follow up with the employer, which this again, it doesn't show that you are interested and you want to join this company. So after the interview, send a thank you letter for the interviewer. Again, you can restate your interest in the job. And sometimes, during the job interview, we are missing a lot of maybe key points, or something happened in the past and you would like to talk about it. So it's okay to, if you missed anything during the interview, you can share it again with the employer. It's okay, but don't make it a long letter. Just keep it briefly as much as you can. The next day after the interview, we would recommend you to send a thank you letter for the interviewers. And if you didn't hear back after 1 week, again, you can just send email and update any updates, something, but don't keep on calling the interviewer, the employer. Don't keep on sending emails. Send thank you and wait their reply.
Just to add on Sarah's point, so if you had missed during the interview, most of the time, they would ask for references, and that would be a good thing to send your references name and phone number and email address in the thank you letter to the interview itself.
Yeah, that's right. So
So
now,
thing, I'm just going to summarize the entire session today. So the tips and tricks again. So research about the company. Sarah has told you, mentioned earlier, how important it is to research about the company, because that is going to help you to ask the right kind of questions to the interviewer. Plan what you're going to wear according to your job, and then practice well your elevator pitch a day or two before. Try and practice and be confident when you're delivering your elevator pitch. Prepare for behavioral questions, that is by your star technique, as Sarah had mentioned before. So think about all the scenarios that you've worked, whenever you've worked, and try and answer them in your star technique. Arrive early, which is 15 minutes early. Be aware of your body language. So always have a positive body language. It's good to be very confident but not cocky. So try and go there on time. Be very positive about your body language. Don't be very stiff. Don't slouch. Just be casual but very positive. Have a good smile and good eye contact. Don't ask about your salary unless the employer brings it up first. So 90% of the time, the employer is going to bring up the salary package. So at the end of the interview, the person is going to ask you what are your expectations. And so this is, again, your research is going to play a major role. As we told earlier, that it's better for you to research about the company. So go on online portals like Glassdoor and research about the company and how much they are going to pay for the particular role that you're going to be going for interview. So whatever bracket it is, it's always good to mention that bracket. Or if you're very enough of yourself, it's good to mention that you are expecting so much within the bracket that the company is willing to offer. And always be honest. So honesty is very good. For example, I would like to tell one particular incident. One of my client, he had an interview a few weeks back, and the employer had asked him, so how long are you willing to give us a commitment for? So he was very confident, honest in saying that he had other plans. He was planning to shift to another province in a couple of years. So he was willing to give a commitment of 1 or 2 years. And the employer was very, very impressed, and they did give him the job. So it's always good to be honest. Talk about your commitment, because it's better to be honest than giving them false promises. Have your questions ready to ask. So as Sarah had mentioned before, the four types of questions that you can ask the employer. You can ask one or two, whatever you're comfortable with. And always have a follow-up interview, or a follow-up email at the end of, like, as soon as your interview is over, get back home and send a follow-up email. Just wait for 1 or 2 weeks. If you do not get back from them, it's advisable to send them another follow-up email asking them to just give you an update about the job.
Okay, so now we are going to talk about a bonus. It's a bonus for everyone who's applying for any job. There is one website, it's called JobScan. So what is JobScans? As you are all aware that most companies, they are using, applicant tracking system for filtering resume. So nowadays, not the HR manager, not the HR, the human resources department, actually, they are screening the resumes. It's going through applicant tracking system. They have their own system where the resume is filtered, and then it's, either it will be thrown, or it will be taken aside or shortlisted for an interview. So this website, what it does, actually, this website, uses an applicant tracking system like algorithm to calculate your match rate. What do we mean by? So they are using the same concept of applicant tracking system. They are making comparison between the main keywords in the job description. Again, it will see how well you match a job in 2 seconds. So what you have to do, just browse jobscan.com. The first step is to paste or upload your resume. The second step, the job description and the job title you are applying for. So let's say you are applying for IT job or software developer, and you have seen the job description. What you do before you submit your resume or you apply for this job, go to job scan, upload your resume and upload the job description for the position you are applying for, and it will show you match the percentage, how much you are matching this job. If you are matching 90%, it means you will be shortlisted. If not, it will show you that you are not matched with the job description. So it will give you time to amend your keywords in order to be accepted by the applicant tracking system. So this is a bonus for everyone. Before you apply for any job, try this website. It's great, and it will match your keywords, and it will give you recommendation that you have to change the keywords. So you can change your keywords and amend your resume and apply for this job, so that the applicant tracking system will not throw away your resume. It's not, it's only, sometimes we are writing our resumes and we are not choosing the high or the right keywords. So it's not a way, it's not cheating actually. It's only to enhance your resume, since if you find yourself you are fit for this position, you deserve to take this chance, but maybe your resume lacks some important keywords. So it's a way just to enhance your resume and to be accepted by applicant tracking system in order to be shortlisted for a job interview. So this is bonus from us to everyone. Try this website. It's a great website and it's very easy to use for everyone. And yeah, so this is our bonus so far for you.
So thank you everyone for watching this session, and for getting more updates from us, do like our MCAF Employment Service Facebook page to get all the updates from our team.
Yeah, thank you so much, and wishing the best for everyone. And for sure, you can reach us anytime. And we would like everyone to like and subscribe to our page for latest update, as my colleague mentioned. Have a good one, stay safe,
Stay
and
safe.
see you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.